Okay, so we're in the middle of chapter 2, Parak Beis, in Shar Beis. We're going to start from right over here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's just recap where we're, right? So, again, the question that we started with was, how is it possible to have B'chol Nafshecha
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to prayer, right? How do you do prayer with all your soul? It means to give up your life for prayer. Doesn't make sense. So what does it mean, all your soul for
Mm-hmm.
prayer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the next point was, what is the definition of the word bracha, right? Blessing. So blessing means expansion of good. Okay, so expansion of all goodness. So he defined that baruch, when you say the word baruch, means your verb. It's a prayer. You're asking Hashem to expand Himself, to expand His goodness,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the next point was, well, obviously you're not talking directly to the essence of Hashem, because the essence of Hashem is infinite. So there's no way you could ask Hashem to increase or decrease or any of those things. That doesn't apply. So clearly, when we're talking about not the essence of God, which is unfeasible, unreachable, unattainable, and not understandable, we're talking about his chabrus, what he's called his chabrus, his connection with this world. Okay, and that's where we're going to continue. So that's, again, it's a sensitive issue, so we're going to be repeating a lot, but because it's you have to get it just right. Because if you don't get it just right, either you're going to go into some kind of like idolatrous territory, or you're going to go into just inaccurate
Mm-hmm.
territory. Okay, so we're going to start over here. Masha Musa Gitzleinu Ktsas. So Masha Musa Gitzleinu Ktsas, and this that we have a slight grasp. Ve'onu mechanim, and we attribute certain terms, umitoarim, and we describe kamatorim, some descriptions, v'shemes, and names, v'kinuyim, and nicknames, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but the terms, umidos, and also traits, right, to God,
Mm-hmm.
right? Commercial matzinu b'Torah, like we find in Torah, b'chol be'atfil, as well as in everywhere in prayer, right? We refer to God as merciful, as powerful, as truthful. All of these characteristics, which are seemingly, again, very humanoid kind of characteristics, and as well as His name, right? Adonai Elohim. All of these things that referring to something in particular, right? So he says, "Kulam heim rak mitzad his chabruso yisbarach." No, those are names to his connection to the world, or his expression Elohelomis within the worlds. Va'koiches, and the powers me'eis habriya, from the point of bria, right, from that world called bria, from the point of creation, la'amidam, that he created these expressions of himself, right? Hashem, the essence of Hashem, whatever that is, created these expressions of himself for the world, lahamidam, to keep the world going, lahachayoisam, or to give life to the world, lahanhigam, or to guide the world and all the forces of it, kiritzoinoi, as he wills, his baruch shmoi, blessed be his name. Behem asher karoum b'shem ishtalshlus spheres, and we refer to the general of the concept over here is that what we refer to by the spheres. When we're talking about the spheres, right, these basic midas, traits, or whatever they are, these beings, whatever the spheres are, they're the most basic expression of godliness as we can grasp from within the creation, right? His expression within the creation. And therefore, according to different changes within the types of hanhaga, the guiding that Hashem that emanated v'nimshach lezeh ha'olam, and materialized into this world. Im ledin, whether it's for judgment; im lechesed, whether it's for kindness; im lerachem, whether it's for mercy. Right? Alidei koiches elyonim, all through this is all of these things are done through the various upper forces, v'izmaz gusum, and their interconnectedness. Mishtanim Hashemos. So, right, as these things change, as Hashem's expression for different needs changes, Mishtanim Hashemos. So, to the names change, right? V'akinuim v'atoyrim, and the descriptions and the terminology. Shulakol inyan prati. So, therefore, each aspect, each separate aspect, Misidre and Hoga, from the types of Hanhoga of the guiding that Hashem put into the world. Meyuchad loikinu v'shem prati. We have a name, a separate name for that phenomenon, right? So each expression of Hashem is its own phenomenon, and therefore has its own terminology and its own name, right? Shekein moirim perushim shel kol hatorim shehem mitzad hakoyches habruim, and that's what that's how we understand all of the Torah, all of the description, which is from the perspective of hakoyches habruim, of the forces that were created, right? So we are naming particular expressions, right? So again, God is not particular, God is infinite, but at the same time there is a situation that arises, and so God responds to that situation in a certain way. So therefore that response, which comes from the infinite, but we have a name for that response. That response is called Rachamim, or that response is called Din, and for each of those responses we're going to have a different name for God, right? This is God as Elokim, this is God as Kel, this is God as Shakai, right? So each of those, so the names are not for the essence of God, they are for the particular expression of God in that situation. Va'afilu Hashem ha'etzem, and even the what we call the essential name, right? Va'afilu Hashem ha'etzem, even the did I skip something? I did skip a few words, right? I'm sorry. K'moy rachum v'chanon, like mercy and grace. Perushim, we call Hashem rachum, merciful, chanun, graceful, right? What do we mean by that? We mean perushim rachmonus v'chanina labruim, his expression of mercy and grace that he upon the creations, right? Va'afilu Hashem ha'etzem, and even the essential name Hamiyuchad, which is unique, which is Havaya Baruch Hu, which is the name of Yud Kei Vav Kei. We call it Havaya Baruch Hu, right? The name of Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is the most unified, the most abstract of all the names, the most unified, the most whatever, the most total name. Even that name is not for God's essence, levad. It's not for His essence that we are designating this name. It also is a name, the essential name to what? To His connectedness with the creation. As the name itself means. What does the name mean? Yud Kei Vav Kei. What does it mean? It's a combination of things. It's a combination of two main factors. First of all, Hoya v'Hoiva v'Yiyah, right? Yud Kei Vav Kei has in it all of the three times, past, present, and future, right? Hoya, he was. Hoiva, he is. V'Yiyah, he will be. Right, so you have that in one way, Yud Kei Vav Kei, whatever that name is, right? So in that one word we express kind of the timelessness of God, and also there is a second aspect to that name is Umehave Hakol. He brings everything into being. Mehave means to make be, right? So he makes everything to become. He creates everything. So he's the creator of everything. So the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, that's the most essential name, the most what's the word? Least particular of all the names. It's the most general of all the names, and the essence of that name is God is infinite and God is the creator. Rotzeloimer, and it means to say, Hu Yisborach Mischaber B'Ratzoyno Lo'Elamis. Hashem, via His will, connected Himself to the worlds. Lehavom, in order to create them, ulekaimim, and to keep them going, kol rega, each and every second. V'zeh shomer Arizal b'Lashono HaKodesh, and this is what Arizal said in his holy language. Huva b'Akdomas Pri Etz Chaim, which is brought in the introduction to Pri Etz Chaim. Shekol hakinuim v'Hashemos, all of the terms to God and the names of God. Hem shmois ha'atzmos. This is the key phrase. Hem shmois ha'atzmos. They're the name for the essence of God, but hamispashtim basfiras, as it is expressed through the spheres, right? So each name, because this is the difficult part, because if you're saying that the name of God is only referring to that expression, so that's really an angel, meaning you are kind of separating the response from the essence, and we know that's a problem too, because whatever God and His essence is one. You cannot say that, well, this expression of God is separate from the essence of God. That's not true. It's the essence of God as it is expressing through this particular avenue.
Okay.
Right? So then when we refer, so it's still a name of Hashem, right? It's not a name for an angel. It's still a name for Hashem, but it's the name of a particular expression of God's essence. Okay? So that's the key phrase. Okay? So it's a particular expression of God's essence. Even though we don't have the grasp on the essence, but it's like there's like an ocean of water, right? And that ocean flows into a river or whatever, some body of water. But the point is, right? The point is, so that expression of that ocean is still connected to the essence of the ocean, but we're going to name this body of water by its own name, because it's a separate phenomenon that we feel through our life, right? Okay. So let's just see this Hagah. Umasha Omer Pirkei Rebbe Eliezer, and this that it says in Pirkei Rebbe Eliezer, Shekoidim Shebara HaKadosh Baruch Hu Asa Olam, that before Hashem created the world, Hoyahu Ushmoi Levad, only Him and His name existed.
Okay.
Only Him and His name existed. What does that mean? So he says, that's the key phrase here. Koidem Shebara Daika. It's before that He created. What if you go back to our understanding of the word bara, which means to create, but it's referring to a particular layer of creation. Out of the four worlds of creation, there was Atzilut, there was Bria, there was Yitzira, and there was Asiya. Asiya is this world, right? So when you learn to appreciate these Kabbalistic terminology, you realize when the Torah uses the word bara to create, it's actually referring to a particular layer of creation, not necessarily the entire creation, but a particular layer of creation or a particular step in creation, which is called Bria. So therefore, when Pirkei Rebbe Eliezer says that Hashem and His name were one before the creation, that means before the world of Bria, which is which world? The world called the world of Atzilus. Right? So in that world of Atzilus, as remember we described, it's the beginning of kind of God's expanding into this world, right? It's also comes from the word Eitzel, which means closeness. So it's the closeness. So it's so close to God that it's almost His essence, but at the same time, it's the beginning of the creation, so to speak. Even though, right, in the beginning of this, in the introduction of the process of creating this world, right? So therefore. So this is what Rotzeloimer Oilam Habriya, the world of Bria, Hoyahu, He, meaning He, Hashem, Atzmuso, His essence is Baruch, Ushmoi, and His name. What is His name? His name, when we're referring to His name, we are referring to Hainu Oilam Atzilus. We're referring to the world of Atzilus. Levad. That was the only thing that existed. It was only Him. And His name, meaning, and the world of Atzilus was the only thing that existed. For if Hashem would not have emanated this world of Atzilus from Himself, so then we wouldn't even be able to call Him by this name, this name of essence, that was only the only thing that existed. Before the Bria, before the creation, it was Him and His name. Which name? Yud Kei Vav Kei. So that's because the Yud Kei Vav Kei came to be with the world of Atzilus. The name of Yud Kei Vav Kei came to be with the world of Atzilus, and it's like the essence of the world of Atzilus. So that's what Pirkei Rebbe Eliezer means, that it was Him and His name. His name is not really just, okay, here's the letters, combination of letters. No, His name meaning that idea, which is the world of Atzilus, only and Hashem. That's the only thing that existed before the layer of Bria.
I mean, the encapsulation of all these qualities that He possesses, the entire spectrum of His goodness.
In potential, right? That will be
the potential
for all the other expressions, right?
So He had He not expanded into the next layer, Bria, with all his might and goodness and all these qualities, we
Right.
wouldn't have had the name.
No,
I mean, does
no. Meaning the name. I don't know how to answer that question, because the whole process really started to keep it going. It wouldn't have stopped at that point,
Okay.
right? The whole process began with the world of Atzilus, but in order to keep it going to Bria, Yitzira, and Asiya, because that was
No,
that
I'm
was
saying
just
he
the
could have
start of it.
expanded into the next layer without the name, or without exposing.
No,
the name,
no, but no. That's the point. The point is the name is actually a secondary. The world of Atzilus is what's the primary, right? So the name of Yudke Vavke is the name that kind of refers to Hashem as He is expressing Himself in the world of Atzilus.
Okay.
So that's why it's the highest name, because the world of Atzilus is the highest world, right? So that's why Yudke Vavke is the closest name to the essence of God that we can get to, because that's referring to God as He's expressing Himself in the world of Atzilus. But if not for the creation of the world of Atzilus, meaning it's really a self-contradiction. But without the world of Atzilus, even to call God eternal would be misnomer, because there's just no way for us to even. It's just no laws of physics, no laws of imagination, no laws of anything that we can possibly imagine can connect to the essence of what God is. Okay, so now Paragim, chapter 3. So he's gonna just hammer this idea out a little more to get it to a more, accurate understanding. Sorry, I'm still under my cold. Anyways, V'uma Moram Zal b'Shmois Rabba, and this idea is expressed in the Medrash Rabbah in Shmois, Parsha Gimel. So when Moshe Rabbeinu goes out, right, and he has this vision by the burning bush, by the sneh, right? So he talks to Hashem over there, and Hashem says, Elokei avoseichem shlachani aleichem. So Hashem tells him, when you go down to meet the Jewish people, tell them that God of your forefathers sent me to you, right? So it says, so the Medrash Rabbah says, Oiso Shah, at that moment, Nizbarar Moshe al Asokov. Moshe was, I'm not sure exactly how to translate that, but I guess he was chosen for his mission. And B'Oiso Shah, and at that moment, Moshe was asking Hashem, that he should let him know what is the great name, what is the most, I guess, the highest way to define Hashem, right? So Omar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Moshe, Shmiyato mevakish leda, you want to know my name? Lefi masai ani nikra. According to my actions, I am referred to, I am called. Right? Pa'amim nikra kel shakai. Sometimes I am called kel shakai. Sometimes bitzvot kois. Oy be'elokim. B'havaya. Right? So different names. What does that mean? Kashani donas abrios. When I am judging the creations, ani nikra elokim, I'm referred to as elokim. That's the midas hadin. Ukeshani oisem milchama b'rashoyim. When I wage war against the wicked, ani nikra tzavakois. Tzavakois means army, right? Right? So we say tzava. In Israel, you go to tzava, you go to the army. So tzavakois means host of armies. Ani nikra tzavakois. Ukeshani toilech hatov shel odam. But when I have patience for the sins of man, ani nikra kel shakai, then I'm referred to as kel shakai. Ukeshani merachem aloylomir. When I have mercy on my world, ani nikra havaya, then I am called havaya. So that's why the name that Hashem.
Where does it come from?
What?
Where does this come from? All these names.
This is the Medrash talking. I'm not sure what do you mean. When did they come from? All these
Meaning, like, where do they take it from? Because, like, in the Torah it says, like, when he speaks to Moshe, he said, I have never really revealed myself as El Shaddai, or no? Does you have?
No, he says that with to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, I revealed myself Bekel Shakai, right? But I never revealed to them in my essence. But to you, I revealed to you as gave you a more complete picture.
Okay.
Right?
That's why I was asking, where did the
Right, but the point is that the Medrash is already talking after the fact. The point is that all of these names do appear in reference to God. So now the Medrash is just putting it together. You'll see in a second. So what was the name that the Torah records that Hashem told Moshe? Have a Ekeyeh Asher Ekeyeh, right? That's the name. It's the name called Ekeyeh, which means I will be. Very similar to Yud Kei Vav Kei, except that it's in the future tense over here. It's Ekeyeh means I will be. And Hashem told him, Ekeyeh Asher Ekeyeh, I will be that I will be. Right? Ekeyeh Asher Ekeyeh, I will be whatever I will be. So, what does that mean? What is Hashem telling him? So the Medrash is understanding that Hashem is telling Moshe Rabbeinu, what does he want to say to tell Moshe Rabbeinu, Ekeyeh Asher Ekeyeh, that I will be whatever I will be. Ani Nikra Lefi Masai, I will be whatever my expression will be at that time. And so the name will change depending on my expression of at that time. When I'm merciful, the name will be, Havaya. When I am this, it's Tzvokis. When I'm this, it's Kel Shaka. When I'm this, it's Elakim. There are different names. There's no one name that captures my essence, or you could say, I guess, Ekeyeh, Sher Ekeyeh would be the next closest possible. Whatever.
I am what I am, only in future tense.
Right.
Well, like an eternal sense.
Right. So that's good. So that's the idea. So Nefesh Hachaim is saying that this medrash reveals to us this idea that God's essence is unknowable, but we can refer to Him each time that there's a different way that we see Hashem expressing Himself. That each time we give Hashem a different name for that particular time. And again, the key point here is keep in mind we're giving. The name is referring to the essence of Hashem as it is being expressed in this particular way. Because again, as soon as you're separating the essence, it's idolatry.
Okay.
You're creating an idol. You're creating like an independent force which is acting separate from the essence, and that's not
when
what
I
God
need
does.
mercy, I go to the expression of
Right,
mercy. When
exactly.
I need,
when you need money, you go to expression of parnos. Right. That's where really Avodah Zarah comes from, and that's why this kind of teaching was not really open because we'd rather people think that they're talking to the S. I don't know how to say it. They're speaking directly to the infinite God, so to speak, and for all of their needs, they're speaking to one infinite God. Let them make that mistake, as opposed to let them think that they're speaking to some particular force that's not connected to God.
Mm-hmm.
So how come when we pray Shmonayes and when they ask for different things, we always refer to Hashem to one?
He's going to address that, but that's going to take us some time. He's going to address that.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Okay, so now, Uberaya Mehemna, Parshas Boy, and this now is going to bring a similar idea from the Zohar. Kiloiri Sem Kol Tmuna. The pasuk says when referring to the revelation at Har Sinai that Kiloiri Sem Kol Tmuna, you didn't see any image. Right? You didn't see any image. There is no image of God, right? There's no icon, there's no visual image. But then it asks what do you mean? But when the Torah refers to Moshe Rabbeinu and how close Moshe Rabbeinu was and how high his prophecy was, his level of prophecy, and how close he was to God, the pasuk says Utmunas Hashem Yabit. He stares at the image of God, right? He peers into the image of God. So which one is it? On one hand, it says no, there's no such thing as an image of God. On the other hand, by Moshe Rabbeinu, it says he looks directly into the image of God. So which one is it? So the Zohar says that afilu haytmuna leislei be'asrei. Even this image does not exist in his place. Ela kadnochis le'amlecha alayhu. Rather, when he wanted to reveal his kingship upon them, meaning upon the Jews, v'ispashet al biryon, or when he expands upon his creation, yischazilon lechol chad kefumare v'chezyon v'dimyon dilhoin. He appears to each person, I guess, to each creation in a certain particular way that person, I guess, can. This is very difficult. The way that person. What that they can relate to him. he's gonna elaborate. Let's say the Hokoidum the Boror the Yukno be Alma V'Tzir Tzur, because before there was any sort of creation, before there was any picture, before there was any form or any shape in the creation, Havehu Yechidoi B'Lo Tzur V'Dimyon. Hashem was alone without any form or even imaginary picture. Uman de'ishtemoida le'koidum bria, and who could possibly know God before the bria, before the creation? The hu levad midyukna. He's outside of any particular image. Osur lemevad leitzura. Furthermore, it's forbidden to ascribe any image with the yukna be'alma in the world. But afil b'shmo kadisha, even in the holy name, v'loy b'shem oisin nekuda be'alma, not in any point or in any letter. Nothing can be attributable to God directly. And that's what the pasuk means. You have not seen any image. There is no image to the essence of God. But after he created this prototype, of course, called Masa Merkava, of the chariot, which is Odamilo, which is the upward man, right? So meaning there is kind of, remember we mentioned that there is an idea that human beings are created in Tzelem Elokim, right? So the image of God. So there is, it's very tough over here, but there is a symbolic idea that in the creation as a whole, there is an image of God which is somewhat, I can't say it. I'm going to say it wrong. It's not humanoid, but it's.
You can draw parallels between.
It's right. You can draw parallels between the human aspects of our life, like mercy, din. All of these are human qualities that we have because God has them, because He expressed Himself in this world for our sake via these qualities, right? So, right? Aval Basar the Ovid the Yukna the Mirkova the Odamilo, after he created the symbolic man upstairs, so to speak. Nochis Tamon v'Iskari Bahud Yukna. 1 second. You could then reach and you can refer to particular expression with a name. Begin the Shtamoidun le bedmus delay. So people, creations could know Him in a certain fashion. El, Elokim, Shaddai, Tzvoko, Isekayeh, all of these different expressions. Begin the Shtamoidun le b'chol mido mida, so that people can have some way of connecting with God, because there is now a particular way that you can now. These are the avenues that allow you to actually have a connection to God. Because then you could understand how does He run the world b'chesed ubedinor, with judgment. So va'ile, woe to the person leman the yashvile b'shum mida, who thinks that the mida is the essence of God, right? Ela dimyoina delay. No, it's only an expression of the essence. Kifum shiltanus elahu mida, because he is in control of that mida. Va'afilu al kol biryan. I'm not sure how that's kad istalik mino leisle mida v'loidimya. But once he removes from that mida, there is no comprehension. If meaning layers above that mida, there's no for us to have any real comprehension. Okay, so right, so this is again a little deeper here, a little more. Again, it's cutting hairs. It's very difficult. But it's the same idea, right? So the essence of Hashem, the point is, the essence of Hashem, loyri sem kol tmuna. You cannot attribute any image, any description, any tzura, any form, any kind of, even abstract descriptions. But after, there is an expression, there is an abstraction that is applicable, and that abstraction is there so we can have some sort of grasp on the godliness, but because that expression is still connected to the essence. So there's kind of this middle ground of separatedness and connectivity that allows us to have some sort of grasp of godliness and allows us to come close to God without, I don't know. Yes?
So you basically try to do anything other than, like, you're finding the essence of God through different names, but trying to bypass the whole concept of like not that we deserve, but like some form of like
Right.
this.
Minimizing God's unity and infinity.
Yep.
Right. Correct.
But what is the reason that you would do that? That's my question. All of a sudden, you talk about Hashem as being unified in one essence. Why would you want to break down different sub parts of Him in order to connect Him?
Because that's the only way that the that's a good question, because that would be the only way for the creation to become a creation. That's the only way to make things happen. Because if we're talking about the essence, once we go, because if you go deeper in the essence of God, the creation never happened.
Okay.
Does that make sense? In the essence of God, as if we don't really exist. Because
nothing's changed.
Because so it's like there is this almost like a mirage of existence that God brought from within Himself, and He only allowed this mirage of existence to exist because He was able to metzamtzim, to kind of limit Himself a little bit, to allow for this creation to exist, and therefore to allow us to have a connection with Him. So I mean, we created as part of Him, sort of independent of Him, but we really are not, because really everything that exists from Him, from within Him, His essence. And so the only way that this thing would exist is by these layers and layers and layers of creation, that in each layer there is a certain expression of God that allows for that layer to exist, and then we are on the lowest layer. We can climb back to God by our kind of appreciation of each of these layers, and the higher a person is, the higher he climbs, the closer to the to the more abstract names and the more abstract concepts of godliness he can reach. And that's Olam Haba. That's your ability to connect with God in that world, in that Yitzira, Bria, Tzilus, and so on and so forth. Right? I mean, this is like, okay. All right. With Parshas Pinchas, somebody has to keep track all the time.
It's 11:24.
Okay.
We're 32 minutes in.
Okay, so let's just read a little more. With Parshas Pinchas, all right. So we just have a few different places in the Zohar that express a similar idea. With Parshas Pinchas, it says, "Ve'ihu lo yiskiri Havaya." He himself is not called Havaya, meaning Yud Kei Vav Kei, uv'chol shmon, or with any name. Ela b'ispashtus nehoirei alayhu. He can only be referred to by these names as His light is expressed through these names. V'kadistalek minayu, but when His light is removed from these names, so to speak, leis le megarmei shem klal. He in His essence has no name at all. Okay, ubetikunim herich beinyan pirkei every hashir koima kaviyachol. Now in Tikkunim he elaborates on this idea, what we call shiur koma. Shiur koma means stature. When a man stands up, it's called his koma, his stature. Shiur koma is what we refer to this symbolic man upstairs, or maybe some people say it's Yaakov Avinu, whatever it is. Right? Remember, right, the angels went up and down. They saw Yaakov on top, Yaakov on the bottom. So meaning the Tzelem Elokim is Yaakov, and that's or the composite of Klal Yisrael is the complete expression of godliness in this world.
Okay.
So all of the Jewish souls combined, that is really that highest level of godliness within this world, right? So over there, in the Tikkunim over there, discusses this idea. Omar achar zeh, but after all that's said and done of there, shekol ha'inyan hu la'achzo b'chol ever ve'ever. I'm sorry. Omar achar zeh. After this, he says shekol ha'inyan hu. The whole idea is la'achzo b'chol ever ve'ever the gufei shel tenusei, to see in each of this particular expression of God, God's control of the entire thing, and to teach mankind how God runs the world. V'yinda lemikre lei b'chol aver kedikoyois. And we refer, so this is going to be an important lesson. One of the things that's going to come out from this, I'm going to jump the gun a little bit, is that people who understand this properly, these ideas properly, they have the ability to give their tefillas more precision, right, and therefore more potency. So people who understand the world, really how it works.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, they understand each expression of Hashem,
Okay.
the way it connects with the essence. And so as a result, when they're asking for particular things, right, so they can connect with that expression of God, but without cutting the link to the essence, they can, as a result, Baruch, that's what we're getting at. Baruch, we're going to say, expand in this particular way. For each bracha of the Shmoneh Esrei, we're going to ask Hashem to expand in this particular way. Reveal your essence in this particular way. So therefore, when you really understand these things, your prayers become more precise, and therefore they become more potent, because you could really, so to speak, not force, but you really ask Hashem to really express in this particular
way.
Right, right, exactly right. Okay, so that's where is leading us into this. Okay, so I'm sorry. So once of v'yin the limikrile b'chol aver kedukayoy. So then a person can refer to a particular limb, which means expression of God properly. And how Hashem's names changes in accordance to this expression. Right? There's an expression that's called Havaya, Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is mercy. And then there is an expression that's called Ulakim, etc., etc. Ekayei, Achzi, Ilas, Ilois. I'm not sure. Second. Oh, until you get to AKM. Which to tell us that the original source of until you get to AKM, Achzi al Ilas Ilas, which teaches us that the one that's above all of this, the Ilas called Ilas Ihu Chad B'chol Shmon. He is really one in all of these names. And he does not change at all. He himself does not change. It's not that Hashem becomes merciful at this time, or Hashem becomes judgmental at this time. He himself does not change at all, right? The changes are only in the names, but not in him. Okay? Again, this is very complicated. Okay? And it brings another 3 places that express a similar idea. Okay, so let's just do one more small paragraph, and then we'll end for today. And this is our entire grasp, as much as possible of him, blessed be his name. Hakol mitzad inyan his chabruso el ha'olamis. All of our understanding is from his connectedness to his worlds. His pashtuso, his emanation is b'soichom, is baruch b'soichom, his blessed emanation within them. Kamash Shikosav B'Raya Mehemna, Parshas Bo and Iskrilel, as it was written above. Even that expression does not exist in his place. It only exists, the expression of God exists only as much as he wants to reign over this world. He emanates over his creation. Then he appears as we can appreciate him. And that's why the pasuk says, in the hands of my prophets I reveal myself. Okay, we'll stop here. Okay.